I'm Hayden from the Broforce, and we're debuting a new series here today. It is called Wrestling Timeline. We will look back at wrestling's most memorable angles, careers, superstars, and track just how their career went day by day or how the angle went. Today we will be looking at what is widely regarded as one of the biggest missed opportunities in wrestling. No, I am not talking about the invasion angle. I am talking about the summer of Punk. Started off so hot, went off the rails so fast. The summer of Punk was, of course, the rise, somewhat fall, and then rise afterwards, once it was over, of legendary WWE superstar chick magnet CM Punk himself. You hear his name at every wrestling event you will go to. It's just a given. People can't seem to let go. But let's see what really got his career started. Because sure, he had won world titles before this. And he had been over like Rover before this. But there was one thing he didn't have. He didn't have the backing of company management. He got jobbed out to The Undertaker in his first world title reign. Randy Orton ended his other world title reign via injury, even though he came back like a week later. So it was clear that company management were never fully behind CM Punk, never going to say, let's make this our top guy. But this, despite being a missed opportunity at the time, would lead on to great things and would be a sign that the company was finally behind the hard-working over CM Punk. It all began June 20th, 2011. CM Punk defeated Alberto Del Rio and Rey Mysterio to become number one contender. And what did he do right after? Except announce that his contract ran out the night of his WWE Championship opportunity. This immediately made this storyline the hottest thing in wrestling, and immediately made it seem like CM Punk obviously was not winning, because apparently his contract was actually running out. And at the time of this promo, on June 20th, 2011, he was actually going to leave the night of Money in the Bank. Could you imagine had he actually left? We never would have gotten what happened after the Summer of Punk. We never would have gotten the Summer of Punk. We never would have gotten any of this. Could you imagine the ripple effects? He may still have an immense passion for professional wrestling had he left that fateful night in Chicago, Illinois. On June 27th, 2011, CM Punk cost John Cena a table match against R-Truth and then cut a little promo. You may have heard of it. It's called the Pipe Bomb. It is one of, if not the most famous promo in the history of professional wrestling. He ran down, he had a live mic. They told him, say whatever you want, and he did. He said whatever popped into his head. About to talk about the anti-bullying campaign when they cut his mic out. He said he doesn't hate John Cena. He hates the idea. He's the best. He calls out the fans at one point. Name drops Ring of Honor and New Japan. Name drops Colt Cabana. It was just an amazing promo from start to finish. And the interesting part is this turned CM Punk face when it was meant to solidify the fact that he was the heel going against the currently hated John Cena. And this promo would actually get him kayfabe suspended at the hands of Vincent Kennedy McMahon himself. We brought Vince McMahon into this storyline because, somebody was threatening to leave with the world title he built up for 50 years. And then on July 11th, 2011, an amazing segment, a segment I can still watch back today and enjoy just as much as I did when it was live. CM Punk and Vince McMahon discussed Punk's contract in the middle of the ring. This segment was dramatic. It was hilarious. It had everything a segment should have. It was just amazing. It was great build to Money in the Bank 2011. Just 6 days after this, it was the go-home show for Money in the Bank. Some of CM Punk's demands in his contract were a tad bit out there. to say the very least. Just a few of his demands were ice cream bars, a private jet, and an apology from Vincent Kennedy McMahon, which he actually got. John Cena came out in this segment, socked Punk in the face after one too many comments. Punk ripped up the contract at the top of the stage, and it was clear what was going to happen. If CM Punk won at Money in the Bank 2011, he would walk out with the WWE Championship, the legendary belt held by Bruno Sammartino, Hulk Hogan, and John Cena. The title that has so many legendary names of professional wrestling under its lineage. CM Punk was going to take it away from its home. Then July 17th, 2011, that fateful day. Chicago, Illinois, Money in the Bank, CM Punk, biggest match of his career by far, in front of his hometown crowd after a failed screwjob attempt by Vince McMahon and John Laurinaitis. John Cena put a halt to it. He put a halt to the screwjob attempt, but what met him when he walked back into the ring, nothing else but a go to sleep, 1, 2, 3, middle of the ring. CM Punk pinned John Cena, hometown, Chicago, Illinois, won the WWE title, hopped over the barricade, and walked out with the gold. What was going to happen from here? This is when it went a bit off the rails. July 25th, 2011. 8 short days after kayfabe leaving the company and via stipulation Cena being kayfabe fired, they were both WWE champions. It took 8 days for both stipulations of that match to be undone. Money in the Bank was the peak, and it all went downhill from there. This is when it went completely off the rails, went bonkers. Not completely bonkers, that would happen later, I believe. If you're familiar with the Summer of Punk, you know what I'm talking about. John Cena was reinstated by Triple H after he fired Vince McMahon. Yes, you heard that right. Triple H did fire Vincent Kennedy McMahon again. Very, very strange times. Rey Mysterio won a tournament to win the WWE Championship for the first time in his career. 2 hours later, he lost it to John Cena. Because what's one thing that'll make a child happier than Rey Mysterio? John Cena. Then, Cult of Personality hits. Who is it? It's CM Punk. Literally 8 days after walking out with the company, he re-signed. Because why not? They couldn't just long-term book this storyline. They had to rush it into 8 days of television. There was one Raw that was absent of CM Punk. Just one. And he came back. Oh, but it just goes so much further downhill from here. August 14th, 2011. SummerSlam 2011 had many turning points in the summer of Punk. CM Punk defeated John Cena for both WWE Championships after special guest referee Triple H did not see Cena's foot on the ropes because John Cena was not going to lose clean to Phil Brooks. And then what immediately happens afterwards? Big Daddy Sexy. Kevin Nash comes in, attacks CM Punk, hits the jackknife powerbomb, and at this point you're wondering, what am I seeing on my television screen? I paid for this. And then who comes down? Other than reigning Money in the Bank briefcase holder, Alberto Del Rio. Alberto Del Rio cashes in, hits the enziguri on CM Punk. 1, 2, 3. Alberto Del Rio pins CM Punk middle of the ring via Kevin Nash interference and wins his first WWE Championship. All of that actually happened. This all happened less than a month after CM Punk kayfabe left the company. He was undisputed WWE champion. Then Kevin Nash attacks him. Then he loses it. This is, I know I said before, this is where it went off the rails. This is where it crashed into the side of the mountain. In less than a month, You get from CM Punk walking out with the gold and John Cena being fired to both men competing in the main event for 2 WWE Championships. The winner getting attacked by Kevin Nash and then losing the title, undoing 2 months of storyline. Not quite sure why this happened. Can't lie. Not really sure why it happened. Although I do know why they chose Kevin Nash of all people. It was because he returned earlier in the year, Royal Rumble 2011, and would go on to get an insane pop. So they thought, oh, he got a return pop as Diesel. Let's take the gimmick off, turn him heel, have him attack the most over thing in the company, and cost him the World Championship. That is definitely how we go about things. Oh no, my friend. It just gets weirder. I know it doesn't sound possible, but it does. It gets weirder from here. August 15th, the next night, 2011, Kevin Nash claims Triple H texted him and told him to lay out the winner of the WWE Championship the night before. CM Punk comes out and says, you want to talk about text messages? And reads a text message from his little sister, Shalene. It reads, you may have heard of it, OMG, Kevin Nash. WTF. Thought he was dead. LOL. Intense storytelling here, folks. Then the next week, August 22nd, 2011, Kevin Nash calls CM Punk a #1 contenders match against John Cena. Because why should the over person be world champion? That's not how wrestling works. Unless it's Fiend, then it works. Then it works tremendously well. Thank you, Vince. I won't draw on you too hard here, because you literally proved me wrong a matter of weeks ago. Thank you. But then, a week later, August 29th, 2011, CM Punk versus Kevin Nash, which was previously announced, is cancelled. And instead it will be CM Punk versus Triple H, Night of Champions. If Triple H loses, he will lose his COO position of World Wrestling Entertainment. Stakes are high, folks. The power that he has held for maybe roughly 2 months, if that, is all up for grabs. It's high stakes here, folks. It will greatly affect television. I wonder what it'll be like when Triple H loses his power. Oh, he won, yeah. After Kevin Nash attacked both men in 3 pedigrees, I believe. I know it was multiple pedigrees. I believe it was 3. Triple H defeated CM Punk. Because Triple H was in dire need of a win in 2011 when he was an up-and-coming star looking to get a world title opportunity. I'm really not sure how we got this off the hills. But anyway, that would be considered the end of the Summer of Punk because it's kind of hard to come back from that. What happened afterwards? Well, a few months later, he actually did come back from that. 2 months later, the Pacific Survivor Series 2011, CM Punk wins the WWE Championship, not in the main event because Rock and John Cena are teaming together. That must be the main event. What's a world title? But he wins, and he holds the title for 434 days. This would be the longest reign of the modern era before the record was broken by Brock Lesnar and Peter Dunne. Brock Lesnar's, of course, Universal Championship lasted over 500 days. Pete Dunne's UK title reign lasted, I believe, 600 days, if not close to it. CM Punk would lose that WWE Championship, ending the 434-day reign to The Rock, part-timer The Rock. Yes, you read that right. I'm pretty sure it was his 3rd match back, and he beat the most over thing in the company for the world title. But anyway, let's not focus on that. It was at Royal Rumble 2013. This would go on to lead to twice in a lifetime between John Cena and The Rock for the belt, because that's just what we all wanted to see. Instead, CM Punk would go on to be the 21st and final victim of the Undertaker's streak before he lost it a year later to Brock Lesnar. Sorry for the spoiler. And after a loss to Brock Lesnar at SummerSlam 2013, Punk stayed mostly in the mid-card. And at Royal Rumble 2014, Punk would wrestle his, as of now, final professional wrestling match before leaving WWE and wrestling altogether. But he did pop up at WWE Backstage a week ago at the time of recording. So who knows? Everyone knows you can never say never in this glorious world of professional wrestling. Now that was the Summer of Punk. That was the defining moments of CM Punk's wrestling career. Join us next time as we will talk about the rise and fall of Sami Zayn.